Welcome to the block.
We're back for another home game. In one of the first hands on the straddle, I raised to 7 with the ace-jack offsuit. Pretty good hand. Can't complain. We get one caller, and we get a fold, and then the button to call behind us. And let's just say this is probably one of the best flops you're going to see with ace-jack. Well, obviously there are a few other ones contingent to this, but when you get an ace-jack 3 board, pretty easy, pretty good. So obviously in the small blind, I bet for 10. We get a quick fold, and I'm going to let my buddy do the commentating for his thoughts.
I'm thinking about what I'm going to do, and I'm pondering, and I'm pondering, and I'm pondering, and I fold.
So a pretty easy win on the first one, flopping top 2 pair. Not exactly the worst thing in the world. Small pot, but again, hey, if you're starting off positive, you're starting off with a win, it can only go up from there, right? Never hurts. In this hand, we have another $2 straddle from the button. I make it an annoyance raise of $6 with the King 10 of clubs. Beautiful hand, great start, love it. Absolutely wish I'd have more of these. And well, we'll see where this goes. We get a fold from the big blind. We get a call. We get another call. Because whatever, it's $6. It's not much. We get another call. And then back to the button, who also makes the call. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to the flop, which, hey, 5 ways, $30, 1-1 game, not too bad so far. And we absolutely miss everything. The queen, ace, 9, all heart board. I guess I technically have a straight draw. So I'm using the image. I bet pre-flop I'm going to hope that this continues to look good for me. So I bet out for $10. The original, first caller calls, we get a fold, and we get a fold. So we are heads up to the turn, hoping to, I guess hit a jack, and jack pretty much only the thing I want to see. It's an 8 of diamonds. It wasn't exactly what I wanted to see. So I bet for $20, thinking, hey, I put money in this pot already. I am the pre-flop raiser. I'm just going to continue my story that I have either an ace, a flush, maybe I just hit a straight with jack 10. So we bet for $20. We get a call. And this is where things get a little dicey. I bet 25. Thinking, again, just continuing my story. I've had it the whole way. Probably should have gone a little bit bigger, but who knows. He ends up flipping over a heart. And I'm going to say I don't remember what the river was. And I didn't tell myself in the little part that I talked to myself. So I couldn't tell you. I bet 25. He shows me a heart and he says, is this for you? And I said, oh, it's a little heart. And well, got it through. And they're asking me, oh, do I owe you $7 or $5 for the 7 deuce game? And I say, nope, just pure bluffing my way into this. But pretty good pot, actually, and pure bluff all the way through. So I left this win in here kind of as a self-jab. I'm going to fully say, I'm not the best player in the world. And, well, we got the pocket queens. This looks pretty good. On the button, we got a raise, a call. I go to 20. We get a fold. We get a check of the cards over there with a call right behind. We get another call, a call, which is in whites, which is hilarious just as a joke, and a fold. So we're going, 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to the flop, $80-ish, $83 or so into the pot. And it's not the worst flop in the world, not exactly what I really want, but with 6, 9, ace, all diamonds, I technically have the, third nut flush draw. We get a check, we get a bet, we get a fold, and figuring, hey, I've got, a pretty good flush draw here, pocket queens, we call the $20, we get a fold, and we're going to the turn. Now I'm sitting here thinking, I'd really like to hit my diamond or maybe a queen, feel a little bit better about this because he could definitely have an ace having raised pre-flop before everybody else, before my re-raise. The 2 of clubs on the turn is pretty much an absolute brick. So we go call the $25 on the turn to the river, which is an absolute nether brick. I mean, depending on how you want to look at it, with the 3 of spades. I guess a straight gets there, but he goes for $100, and I'm sitting here thinking, did I walk myself into the flopped flush? Did he have an ace? Kind of just hemming high. So I show him the queen of diamonds, say I missed my draw. he shows me the king of diamonds, so I didn't want the flush in general. I think he had like a 9 too, so I technically should have won this pot, but again, I'm not the best in the world. I'm kind of a nit, so this is a self jab to myself, and one of those things. You join us a little later in the night as the player in the middle of the table has changed, and with the King 9 offsuit, pretty good in late position, I raise it to $10. We get a fold, a call from the big blind. We get another call. We get another call. We get a fold, and we're going to the flop, which comes not horrible considering. King 9 is one of those hands that can get you in trouble if you hit your king and have a bad kicker, but the inverse also works where you hit your 9 and have a good kicker. So middle pair on a 9-5 ace board, it checks around to me, figuring if somebody has an ace, I don't want to put money in this pot, until the gin card comes. 9 of hearts on the turn, we get bet into, which is even better. $10, not a ton, but for the game that it is, it's working out for me. We get another call and a fold, which is even better. I go 25, figuring I'm more than good here. No way somebody has pocket aces with the way it's played. Maybe pocket fives and it's a slow, but I'm not really super worried about that. So we make it 25. We get a caller and a fold. So we got at least one person to the river. Got a little money from somebody else extra into that pot. And I should say gin card comes on the river even more with the king of spades, giving us the full-on boat, the Santa Maria, whatever you want to call it. Feel pretty good about this. And, backing your way into the absolute nuts. And we get it bet into, I think it was 25, maybe if I'm wrong about that. So I just shoved because I'm short stacked here. I had like 50, something like that, $57. This had come after a bomb pot where I'd been royally screwed. So we're on the short side of things. It's really not that much more considering how much is in the pot already. And yeah, boat. And you heard from the intro clip, this is the one where the guy next to me said, "Welcome to the vlog." And so I'm going to be using that one as a opening clip for a while now. Pretty good double up considering there was some other money in the pot. So double 0.2, whatever you want to call it. You can never be mad about hitting boats, especially when you're probably good all the way through and just improve. Pretty happy about it. So this one ends up being probably one of the bigger pots of the night for me, with the ace king of hearts, obviously best drawing hand in poker. From the small blind, we have made it $12 off of a $2 straddle, and as you can see, the little black chip on the button right in front of me too, we are in the nit game, so we get a call, we get a fold, and then we get a call down on the other end of the table, and a fold back to the button, who sits there and thinks about it, and makes the call. Go down in the comments, tell him to start editing and posting, because he's recording all these too. You just can't see the camera because it's on a super tall arm on the top right. But onto the flop, comes out pretty good for us here. Ace of spades, 7 of diamonds, 10 of diamonds. I guess I've got to worry about ace 10 or ace 7 or sets, but again, straight draws, like I can charge. So we make it $30. We get a fold and a fold, and he's sitting there talking, "Oh, I do owe you money, so I guess, I don't know." It's one of those things that, I've hit top pair, I've got top kicker, I'm trying to just, I guess, kind of win here, don't have to worry about diamonds coming, and, well, he makes the call in the end. We're going to a turn, which comes the queen of clubs. So I guess Jack 10 or King Jack gets there, Queen 10, Ace Queen, those kind of hands. We make it $55. He pretty quickly calls, figuring, I was like, oh, well, I'm either really good here or way behind and I'm just burning money. And onto the flop, or onto the river. I went through all of them there, apparently. Onto the river, we end up getting the 9 of hearts. Pretty safe card. Again, Jack 10, I was already kind of worried for, but whatever. We make it $50. A little down bet from the flop. He talks about it. He's saying, well, if you've got the ace of diamonds, you've got me beat. I don't have the ace of diamonds, but I do have an ace here. Just trying to hopefully get a fold here. I don't really want to call because I think I'm either way behind or way ahead, and it's either value owning myself or making a bunch of extra money. And he's talking through it. You've got this, if you've got that. He makes the call. I flip over my ace king. He shows a queen. He said he had a straight draw also. Pretty good pot in the end, and best drawing hand actually worked out for me for once. In middle position, we look down to the beautiful Queen 10 of clubs. You got the Broadway draw, you got the one gappers, you got a lot you can do here. Flush, pretty high, not too bad. Comes around to me, I make it $20, and we get pretty much everyone to fold. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people gone. My buddy to the right has a $5 chip in there anyways for the $1 call, and he ends up saying, sure, puts $15 more in. Because you know what? Why not? Why not? Just friendly, fun gambling. Comes onto the flop with a beautiful 8-9 ace. We have a gutty, and we're just going to rep the card. Why not? Continue on our way, telling the story that I've been trying all night long. And, well, we make, $25? He makes the call. Look down at our cards again, make sure we don't have anything, like I am thinking. And the Queen of Hearts rolls on to the turn. He ends up checking. I grab one of the beautiful $100 chips, announce $50, throw it in there, and he looks down, and now it becomes the question of, does he want to put that money into the pot or not? Granted, it's probably, was that like 25, 50? It's pretty close to like a half pot bet. He shows me the queen. He also shows me a king. I show my queen 10, flip it over. He goes, oh my God. There's the king of hearts right there. So he had backdoor hearts, and he said, I thought you had the ace. Didn't want to apparently run for the straight or the flush or whatever else he could have had there. And so I'm pretty happy with that. Same pair for both of us. He just had a way better kicker. And I'm happy to take this pot down, not getting to the river, not checking, and then just thinking, well, it sucks I lost to the kicker. Can't exactly complain when you're semi-bluffing, still have second pair, and then find out that all you ended up doing was taking somebody out of the pot with the better kicker than you and winning. So it's always a good feeling, especially just raking in the chips and laughing about it. So this hand ends up being pretty painful, actually. Jack 7 of clubs, and they straddle to my right. I called the $2 because why not? Suited hand, could make straight draws, still have an overcard, not the worst thing in the world, but it ends up checking, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to a flop. So a whole $12 into this flop, which ends up being massively painful, considering that flop. 8, 9, 10. So I flop the straight. This is beautiful. I'm thinking I'm, what is it? Vegas in the Mirage. I make it 12. He shoves for it's like 83 in the end. And I'm thinking, geez, I've got this, does he have top set or something like that? Aces maybe. I make the snap call. I flip over my Jack 7, and he goes, ooh, and flips over Queen Jack for the better straight for me. The turn and river were absolutely irrelevant. And this is one of those things that just, sometimes flopping a straight, especially when you have that, the lower end of it is not great. I don't know how you want to say it. I mean, I had the harder one to have. I had both ends of it, and he just ended up with Queen Jack. But this is one of those things that, some hands are just coolish. You're going to get these ones where you think you're good and then just end up finding out you're really, really not. And this ends up being that hand, so good job to him. I mean, you can't do anything else about it. I flop a straight. What am I going to do? Run away from it? Who knows? Now, this was the last hand of the night that I recorded. The beautiful ace queen of spades in late position with a $2 button straddle. We got a fold, a call, a call, a fold, a fold. I make it $10. The person to my left folds. And the button, the straddler, ends up looking at it, folding the cards next to him because he didn't want them close to him anymore, making the call for 2. Down at the end, the limpers end up making it $15. Okay, well, limp to 15, yeah, check raise, or limp raise, I guess would be the correct way of saying that. And this ends up being a pretty fun hand considering just the way it works. Sadly, I think I don't remember if I ran out of storage or something, but this is just the last hand I recorded because either that or I left right after. I don't remember. By the time these are the last hand of these nights, it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, something like that. The second limper also makes the call to 30. I continue, and then the button makes the call also. So we're four ways to the flop. Was that $120 onto or in the pot? Not exactly horrible, especially when the flop comes queen 3-9, flopping top pair, top kicker. I guess technically I could have a backdoor flush draw, but I don't think so, really. The original limp razor makes it $30. The second limp razor calls the 30, and at this point I was just saying, "Yep, I'm all in for this." It ends up being like 105, if I remember right. Like, I mean, you can count the stacks at the end of this if you want. So it's like $105 into a $180 pot. And while we sit here and wait for the button to make a decision, this night I ended up making like $70, considering I got stacked, well, not stacked, but pretty well stacked with the straight over straight hand. And there's also a hand where I had pocket jacks where I got fully stacked that I didn't include in this. Not too bad exactly to make money, considering once was a fully stack and it's jacks. There's no right way to play it. I raise pre-flop, flop comes out, bet, re-raise, all in, just one of those stupid hands that ends up working that way. I mean, $70 in profit, not exactly the worst thing in the world. I do have another one after this that I have to edit. I'm behind. I apologize. And the button ends up folding here. The original limp razor ends up folding too. And the guy at the end of the table, I feel pretty good. And the moment he doesn't snap call or he doesn't say anything and he starts showing people his cards, I feel pretty good here. He ended up showing ace 3. So he had bottom pair with top kicker compared to my top pair, top kicker. And, he's hemming and hawing, whatever. I feel pretty good overall for this night. He ends up flipping that in. We run it out, and it would have been 2 pair versus 2 pair with the 2 of spades and the ace of hearts on the river. But thanks for watching. Go down, comment, like, share, subscribe, do all the fun things you can on this platform because it does help me out and I appreciate it. And with that, I'll see you later. Peace.